welcome. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup. And today I wanted to go ahead. This is the last of the Dior quints that I have, and it's Black Bow. So I've already done one look with that I will share with you, but I thought we would do a get ready with me with that. And I also have a couple of other new Dior items. So I have the new Forever Skin Veil Primer. The foundation isn't available here yet, but I did pick up the primer and also the new Lavender Cushion Powder. And I picked up another lip liner as well. So I figured let's go ahead and try all of those out. And I haven't really used the Rose Montagna blush that I picked up yet either. So we've got almost a full new face of Dior. So let's go ahead and get started. So the primer is called the Forever Skin Veil, and it says there's extreme wear and moisturizing primer, correction, protection, illumination with sunscreen, and it's floral extract enriched with broad spectrum SPF 20. It's 1 ounce, and the active ingredients would be octisalicate at 4.5%, titanium dioxide at 7.23%. So according to the side of the box, it does mention that it is infused with illuminating oils. It reveals a naturally vibrant glow. It is supposed to extend makeup wear. It's supposed to, protect your skin, which will improve complexion quality. And all of this should be with just one application, just one pump or whatever it is. And let's see. So there is an expiration stamped into the bottom, and mine expires November 22nd. So let's take a look. So here is the bottle, and this is made in France. It has a 12-month lifespan, and let's go ahead and try it out. All right, so you can see that it is tinted. Let's start with just a little bit here. It feels like a lightweight moisturizer, but you can feel SPF ingredients in it. You know how when you've got a product with like titanium dioxide, it has a little bit more resistance as you start rubbing it in, that you can feel that when you get to that, but it's not like heavy. It's not, a thick feeling. But I would have to say that this primer is a little bit thicker consistency than some others that I've tried. All right, so to the touch right after application, feels like you've just applied a lightweight moisturizer. The scent of this primer is the same as the other Dior products that have been coming out with all of these floral extracts. I'm not super familiar with older formulations of Dior products, so I don't know if it's the same scent as that. But if you're familiar with the new lip balm or the new lipsticks or any of those types of items, it's the same scent. So I let this sit for a minute. It still feels the same as it did right after application. That's obviously not enough time to notice any sort of difference, but it feels nicely moisturized. And I think we're gonna go with more of a dewier look today. So we're gonna use the Chanel Light Beige Foundation. And I have shade BR12. So I'm gonna use the Kyoto F04 brush. And I'm just gonna put this in. I have to say it's very fragrant in here now with between the scent of the Chanel and the scent of the Dior primer. I definitely have a very floral scent going on in here. Now, if you are familiar with the Chanel foundation scent, that's about how strong the scent is on the primer. So they're pretty equal levels, I would say. Now this foundation is kind of like a dewy looking foundation on the skin, but I definitely think that I have increased radiance due to this primer. My skin definitely looks more glowy and more hydrated. than it does even with like another hydrating primer. So there's definitely increased radiance, I think. I'm gonna wash my hands. I'll be right back. All right, I think I'm gonna add a little bit of concealer. I'm gonna use the Chantecaille Camouflage Stilo. And we're just gonna use a tiny bit here. I don't know if that, yeah, I've got pretty dark circles today. I'm on a terrible sleep schedule. All right, so I'm gonna move you in closer and we are going to test out this lavender powder. All right, so here is the powder. It comes in this nice, cushiony compact. This is all plastic here on the side. You've got this little spot to lift up. Inside you have a full-size mirror. You can see the powder coming up. You have a little puff here. And then this is the powder. And this is actually one of those like moist powders. So I've used this a few times already, and I'm going to take the Refer 25 brush because since this is a moist powder, I am trying to stick with something that is undyed. And I'm just going to get some on my brush here. And let's start with the right side of my face. So I like to use lavender powders a lot, like specifically under the eye, because it does help with a little like color correction and so forth. All right, now this is a dewy foundation. I've worn this powder on foundations that weren't quite so dewy, and I think it actually looks better on that. Like I wore it on top of the Guerlain High Perfection. I really like that. I wore it on top of the Merit Beauty Stick, and I liked that. But I feel like this is emphasizing a little bit more texture here on this foundation. Just add a little bit more. You can definitely see that it mattifies everything compared to this side. There's also like a blurring effect. Can you see that? Like if you look at my pores here versus here, they're definitely much more blurred on the side with the powder. All right, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and powder both sides then, so they're the same. All right, so that's gonna be it for the powder. Let me know what you think of it down below. I really like the lavender color, and I think this just isn't the best foundation to put it on top of. It really looked great on top of the other items that I've tried on so far. So I think it's a nice powder. I like it. All right, so now let's move into Dior Black Bow. And I really want to focus more on this mauve tone color today. So we're going to start with this. I'm taking the Jumbo Blender from Sonuji. This is the Kiyaki version, but it's also in the Sky Eye Set. It's just not undyed Go here then. And I don't have any primer on my eyelids today. We're just going to put this all over the lid. Wow. I love this color. All right, so I just wiped the brush off and I'm gonna go into that color with the tip and then add a little bit of the black there and put this in the crease. Okay, so now you can see like that black line. So I'm gonna wipe this on my cloth, which is on my lap. And now I'm just using the wider side to kind of blend that out a little bit. There. So I think you can really tell the difference between my right eye and my left eye now. This one looks way more open. This one looks a little more sunken down in my opinion. Okay, wiped off the brush again. I'm gonna take the tip and head into the white and just a very light touch. Just gonna put that under the brow. just going to grab a little bit more of that white for the inner corner here. And then I'm taking this brush into the darker shimmer shade, and I'm just patting a little bit on here, and I'm just going to pat this on the outer corner. Just a light pat. All right, and I'm just going to go a little bit more into the mauve and just add a little bit more, kind of all over, just tapping over the edges where the sparkly gray shade is, or sparkly black. All right, I think this is a really nice, pretty neutral look. I like this. Okay, so I just wiped the brush off again. I'm gonna go into the tip into the mauve shade and just going to spread this on the lower lash line. Now along the inner rim of the lower lash line, I'm taking this. This is the, like, what is it called? The Brightening Eye Kaujal in Nude from Chantecaille. And just gonna put that right there on the waterline. And then I picked up one of the new eyeliners. I actually picked this up a little while ago and haven't opened it yet. Forgot about it. But this is number 040. It is the Dior Show 24-Hour Stilo Intense Waterproof Eyeliner. It's 0.007 ounces or 0.2 grams. And it's made in Italy. We have a smudger on one side. And let's see here. This is number 40, Sparkling Black. And where is it? Am I supposed to be twisting this? Guess not. Or maybe I am. I don't know. Oh, yeah. No, it's closed. It looks like there's a little hole at the top. I was expecting it to come through, but it's not. That's actually a cap. So here is the actual eyeliner. Let's see what this looks like on my... So it's black and there's a little bit of sparkle. Not as much as I was thinking there would be, but we're going to put this on the upper lash line. To say going on, it feels really nice. And the sparkle in here actually looks more like a blue silver. More blue than silver though. All right, so I'm just going to smudge this into the lash line. I don't want to have too much or too thick of a line. So the pencil consistency is a little bit drier, not dry like uncomfortable or anything, but it feels like it'll probably stay put well. And there's a little bit more dry going on. It's not one of those super creamy pencils. Sure. I'm going to take the smudger end and just kind of smudge that a little bit, see how this works. All right, so this is what it dries down. You can definitely see it's a matte black with a little bit of sparkle. This could be really pretty, just kind of like drawn on and smoked out. We'll have to try that another time. All right, I'm going to do my lashes off camera and I will see you in a second. All right, so for the lashes, I tried on the new Lancome Lash Idole mascara. I have a sample of this. And what do you think? I think it looks pretty nice. And then for brows, I'm going to apply the Merit 1980 Brow Gel, and I have the brown shade. And this is just, you know, kind of like a natural looking brow gel, in my opinion. You know, it emphasizes what you have there, but it doesn't apply too much product. It's not a wet product. I mean, obviously it's wet, but it's not like one of those goopy wet ones. So I feel like it's easy to apply and ends up looking very natural. So I'm really enjoying the brow gel. All right, so now let's work on cheeks. I'm taking the Kyoto Akabeko brush into the Gucci bronzer. Go put this on here. I'm just really loving the effect that I'm getting from this. And I'm not using a lot of product because I don't actually want to look bronze per se. I'm using it more as a contour than a traditional bronzer. And then for cheeks, I'm taking the Lunar New Year brush from Beautylish this year into the 219 Rose Montagna blush. And, oh, too much. So I knocked a little bit off on my cloth here. Just gonna brush it on. You can see that there's like a sheen to this. You can see there's a little sparkle in the pan here. So here's the blush. It's a nice shade. I like the shade. And I just want to try the lavender powder again, kind of more as like a finishing powder. So just getting a tiny, tiny bit on the brush. Just gonna put this on. I don't know. I just think I prefer this for setting. But I have to say, even with this powder, you still get that sheen from the blush. I actually don't even think I really need a highlight with this, but we're gonna add one. I'm gonna take the Chanel Pearl de Lumiere highlight, and this is the Refer 20 fan brush. So just gonna get a little bit of this, dust it on, and you can see how much that emphasized the sheen of the blush. Okay, and then whatever's left on here, just kind of dusting a little bit under the brow, and well, a little bit above it too. There's really not much on the brush. All right, so now we're going to go into one of the new lip liners, and I picked up number 760, which is called Favorite. And the lip liners do come with a sharpener. You've got one end with a brush, and you can just loosen that up. There's a little glue on there or something. And then this is Favorite. So let's see what this looks like. It's a red, but there is a pink undertone. Real quickly, I'm just gonna swatch a few comparisons. First, this is Pat McGrath Major. So this one here is Major, and this is the Dior in Favorite. They're fairly similar. Major is slightly warmer in tone. This one here is Lisa Eldridge Ribbon, and you can see it's gonna be cooler in tone. There's definitely more pink than the Dior. This is Chanel Rose Framboise. Yeah, and that's what I thought. It's definitely way more pink. And Pat McGrath Night Fever is going to be more burgundy. So I think it's closest to the Pat McGrath Major. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. We're going to line my lips with this, and then we'll figure out what to do after that. All right, so I think I'm gonna top that with the 999 in the Velvet formula from Dior. And see how they go. They actually have a 999 liner. And the 999 lipstick is a little bit warmer in tone than this one. But I don't know. I like mixing the cool and the warm a bit. So this is it. All right, so this is my final look. And yeah, I like it. I'm really, really enjoying this black bow quint. I think it's way more versatile than I thought it would be when I first saw the original photos of it, because, you know, aside from this shade, it's really a typical like smoky eye type palette, but these shimmers make a huge difference. So let me swatch these real quickly. So here are the top 3 shades. And I have to say, this like mauve tone shade is, it's what makes a palette for me. I absolutely love it. And then the white you can see is shimmery, but it's not like a true topper shade. I mean, you can obviously use it as a topper, but if you are familiar with the Dior toppers, a lot of them have more of a transparent base and you've got just like a little bit of glitter. This one you can actually use and get some white pigment from. And then this is the black in the center, and you can see that it goes on smoothly and you can blend that out pretty easily. And these are the last 2. And look at this silver shimmer shade. First of all, this is opaque and it's incredible on the eyes. I mean, that's like a disco ball on the eyes. I absolutely love it. It is gonna be cooler tone. There are some hints of like a blue gray in there. The base of it, when you actually spread it out, you know, it's more of like a soft gray base in my opinion. And then this deeper one is going to be more sheer. These are not the same formula. The silver is a little bit creamier. It's obviously more opaque versus this one here, which is really more of a dark charcoal gray shadow with glitter compared to this, which is really a true shimmer. Right, so we're gonna swatch the Chanel Modern Glamour palette. This is number 334. And this is really the most similar palette I have. I don't have a ton of palettes with these types of colors. So this is one layer of it, but I'm gonna do a second swatch on there. All right, just to make that a little bit easier to see, you know, part of the issue is getting enough pigment on my fingers because the pans are smaller in the Chanel, but the Dior is a little bit creamier. They both go on pretty opaquely. So if you look at them as a whole, you can see that the Modern Glamour has an overall more matte look than the Dior. Not to say that the Chanel is actually all mattes. So this first shade here is going to be a dark gray shade, and it's warmer in tone than any of the ones in the Dior. There are some like hints of a little tiny bit of brown kind of in the base there. So it's going to be a warmer gray versus the cooler grays here. Then we have this white shimmery shade, which is pretty similar to the Dior, but the Dior is going to be more sheer than the Chanel. The Chanel is really like an iridescent white shimmer shade. And then we have the matte black. Again, they're going to be fairly similar. The Chanel is slightly deeper. It's a little bit more black than the Dior. The Dior is a softer black. And then we have this deep gray satin shade. And actually on my eyes, it looks a little bit more blue than it does in the swatches. It has a little bit more of a blue base. But this is going to be most similar to this last shade here. However, this is a satin. This is really more of, you know, a shade. There's a lot more sparkle with this, and it's not a satin. It's more of like a satin matte with sparkle versus a true satin here, and you can see the finish. Color-wise, the Chanel is cooler in tone than the Dior one, but they do definitely have some similarities here. Obviously, the Chanel does not have the mauve shade, and again, I think that's what makes this palette the most unique. In the Black Bow palette, my 2 favorite shades are definitely the mauve and the silver. This silver is incredible. So if you mess up, let's say you're doing like a dark smoky eye or something, and you mess up and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do to fix it, put that on top. That'll just fix everything. So I'm gonna share my other look with this palette. So you can see that one focuses more on the silver shade. You can see how beautiful that is on the eyes. Today we are going into Dior Black Bow. This is number 79. And I have the Hourglass Veil Eye Primer on. We're starting off with the Sonia G Crease Pro, and I'm gonna go into this mauve shade and add this to the crease. I'm gonna take the same brush, the tiniest dab into this black shade. So I just have a very little bit here. I'm gonna add this to the outer portion of the crease. Just kind of lightly blend that in. Now this crease brush you can see is kind of pointed. You know, it's not super fluffy, which helps it be a little bit more targeted. You don't want to do that with a super fluffy brush. So next I'm taking the Builder 3 and I'm going to go into this lighter silver shade. And I'm going to put this on the inner portion here. Wow, that's definitely vibrant. So I'm just going to kind of softly spread this shade out. So you can see it's more densely packed on the inner corner, but I spread it all the way to the outside. Now a brush like this is really good for shimmery shadows because you can see here that it doesn't have a ton of flecks. Everything is kind of densely packed and it's flat. So you're not going to, it's not fluffy enough to really produce a lot of fallout. Now I'm going to go into the deeper shade with the same brush. And we're going to put this on the outer corner and do the opposite. So working our way in. And then let's try this white shade. And we're just going to put a little bit of this right in the center. You can see that this is a different consistency. This one's definitely more powdery versus shimmery. So now I just wiped off this brush and I'm just feathering the edges, all of these shades. Going back in with the Crease Pro and no shadow, just kind of blending. And then I'm taking the Signature Pencil 1 into the mauve shade and I'm going to add a little bit of this to the inner corner here. I'm going to top this with the white topper shade as well. So before I wipe this off, I'm just going to line the lower lashes with this. Okay, so I wiped off the brush and now I'm going to twirl it into the white and I'm just going to add this to the inner corner here. Okay, just taking the wiped off brush and just kind of spreading everything out here. And now I'm taking the pencil 1 into the black and I'm just going to add a little bit of this right by the lash line. I'm really trying to make sure to tap off any extra very well. And this is the final eye look. All right, and this is the final look from a distance. So I finished off the eyes with the Jones Road mascara, which is a volumizing mascara. On my face, I have the Guerlain High Perfection Foundation, and on my cheeks, I have the Gucci bronzer, the Chanel Fleur de Printemps Spring Duo, and then for highlight, I have the Westman Atelier Lit Up Highlighting Stick in Nectar. On my lips, I have an interesting combination of the Chanel Le Lion lipstick in number 227, Beige Rougissant, which is more brownish. And then I topped it with a few light dabs of 117 from the holiday collection, or Cuivre. And then I just have them like kind of blotted and blurred a little bit. On the brows, I used the Merit 1980 brow gel, and that's it. So I hope that was helpful, and let me know how you like this format where I have like a pre-recorded look and a get ready with me style. I thought it was kind of fun, a little different than what I usually do. So let me know what you think. And overall, I think today's makeup ended up turning out very well. I am in love with the Black Bow palette. I really love the 999 in the velvet formula, and I think the 760 lip liner really works well with it. I'm curious about the 999 lip liner. It's on my list, but I started with this one. The color swatches that they have online, it's really difficult to tell what the colors are going to look like. So the pencil was not exactly what I was thinking it was going to be, but I'm happy with the color because, you know, I think it's got a nice place in my collection. And the lavender powder, I really like it. I particularly really enjoyed it over top of the Guerlain High Perfection foundation. Like, they were a true perfect match in my opinion. It just made everything look even more like velvety and just this beautiful velvet matte finish. On this, I do think that it emphasizes a little bit of texture on top of the Chanel foundation, but I do like it. And now that everything has sat on my skin and, you know, my natural oils and so forth have kind of helped meld everything together, I think it does have a nice finish. The Rose Montagna blush, you know, I think it's a really nice shade. I think it's going to be great for summer. It's got that, like, a little bit of like that kind of gold metallic. It's not a gold metallic blush per se, but there's a hint of that in there. So it's not going to be an everyday blush for me, but I do really like it. And the eyeliner, I want to play with it some more, but I do like it, and I wanted something like this. I actually intended to use this with the Black Night or Dark Night palette from the holiday collection, but I actually purchased this after that. So I purchased this right at the beginning of the new year. So, you know, we'll have to play around with this some more some other time. But overall, I am enjoying all of the products that I tried out today. The primer, I will leave a comment down below in the description box with information about, you know, if I notice anything about how that wears with this foundation and so forth. But it feels comfortable on the skin. It definitely gave me more of a dewy look with the foundation. Obviously, I kind of canceled that out with the powder. But yeah, I will definitely update you and let me know what you'd like to see more of in the future. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I will see you very soon. Have a great day and stay safe and healthy.